Even though it is set in a post-apocalyptic reality where almost every institution of the past has ceased to exist, the world Fallout features a remarkably stable currency with real-world value. It is backed by a highly precious resource, it is practically inflation-proof, and is openly accepted across all North America. Honestly, it is a bit ironic that in a war devastated by nuclear war, mutants, destruction, and anarchy, they managed to build a more functional economy than many real-war countries. And of course, I'm talking about Nuka-Cola bottle caps. Now, many will argue this only exists because game developers needed a buying and selling system more practical than simple bartering to make the games playable. But the truth is that the how and why behind these little metal discs becoming the de facto standard of the wasteland has a deep history and a lot of logic. Hey everybody, I'm Brian for Welcome to the Lorches, and today we're talking about why are bottle caps money in Fallout. In the Fallout universe, if you want to trade, you need a pocket full of caps. While we see evidence that they aren't the only currency, for instance, in Fallout New Vegas, factions like Caesar's Legion and the New California Republic mint their own money, Nuka-Cola caps remain the most widely accepted payment for goods and services across the wasteland, and there is a very good explanation for this. To understand it, we have to look at the fallout of the Great War between the US and China in 2077. When the government and its economic institutions collapsed, traditional money like paper bills and coins lost their value almost instantly. At first, this wasn't a priority because survivors were focused only on one thing: survive. But as time passed and small settlements were founded by war survivors and their children, people began to feel the need for a new form of exchange, one that was widely recognized and not tied to fallen nations or new, unstable factions. In other words, they need a new version of gold. One of the largest of these new human settlements was the Hub, founded roughly 20 years after the bombs fell. Located in Southern California, right in the middle of heavily traveled trade routes, and sitting on a massive reserve of clean water, the Hub became one of the most important locations in the Fallout lore, especially in the original games. It developed rapidly as a commercial center because merchants needed a place to exchange goods and services safely. It offered everything from lodging and security to entertainment, becoming a vibrant and dynamic city. Its history reflects the pure resilience of survivors in the wasteland, but it was their dominance in trade that led their leaders to seek a new economic system to facilitate life both inside and outside their borders. Historically, every society that forms a sense of unity, where they are agricultural or governed by a simple system, eventually develops a currency to move beyond traditional bartering. The post-apocalyptic societies of Fallout were no different. But for a currency to work, it relies heavily on trust. People have to believe that others will accept that money in exchange for goods and services. Since the Hub was the largest and most visited trade center in the US, when it was proposed that bottle caps become the official currency, most merchants jumped on board because they all wanted to be on the same page. In the past, for a currency to have real value, it needed more than just a powerful government's backing. It needed to be linked to a high-value resource, usually gold or silver. In the ruins of the Fallout world, people weren't going to accept caps just because a merchant said so. They wanted a standard, leveraging their control over massive amounts of clean, fresh water. Undoubtedly the most valuable resource in the wasteland. Using their vast reserves of water, the merchants of the Hub established a fixed measure. A specific number of caps would be exchanged for an exact amount of water. This prevented inflation and turned water into the gold standard for bottle caps, providing ultimate security and trust. But then, why caps specifically? Why not the pre-war dollar bills that were everywhere by the time? Or why not go back to gold coins, which you can actually find in the game? Well, while bottle caps might seem useless to us today, in the Fallout world they were the perfect choice. First, they are durable and abundant. Unlike paper bills, many of which were vaporized in the nuclear blast or simply dissolved and rotted away over decades, metal caps last forever. And in a pre-war American society that was literally obsessed with sugary drinks like Nuka-Cola, there was a massive and finite supply of them. Second, they are easy to identify but impossible to forge. The Nuka-Cola logo and the specific shape of the cap were recognizable to anyone. Because the factories and heavy machinery required to manufacture them were destroyed in the war, creating fake caps became nearly impossible, and even the scrap aluminum they were made of gave them a base intrinsic value. Over time, the acceptance of caps spread from the Hub across the entire wasteland. But you might wonder, if this started in California, why are caps also the currency in the East, in places like Washington DC, Boston, and Virginia? Well, for that, there is a logical explanation too. We have to remember that Nuka-Cola had a massive presence across the entire country before the war. Mexico and Canada had been annexed by the US as well, so the brand was everywhere. In the East, just before the bombs fell, the company was launching Nuka-Cola Quantum and running promotional campaigns where automated robots would accept bottle caps in exchange for prices and materials. These robots continued to function in places like White Spring Resort in West Virginia long after the war ended, when survivors realized they could trade trash to a robot for valuable tools or medical supplies. The cap became backed by the robot's inventory, much like it was backed by water in the West. Even so, we have to keep in mind that the prominence of caps in the games is largely for gameplay purposes. Every open-world RPG needs an easy-to-understand economic system, either as gold or caps. If we look at the Fallout world as a real place, while caps will certainly be used, bartering will still be the king of trade. In a working economy, people will likely trade 2 kilos of wheat for a chicken rather than carry around bags of metal. But even so, the bottle caps remained a powerful symbol of how humanity, even when reduced to ruins, will always find a way to organize, trade, and rebuild civilization, one cap at a time.
Thanks for watching this video. This is a new project that I'm very proud of, so if you want to keep watching our videos, we have some more that you can watch, and that would make me very happy. Maybe you notice it from my accent, but I'm not a native English speaker. This new project, The Lore Chest, is like a new son of my original channel, El Baúl de los Conocimientos Inútiles. And I'm taking a lot of the videos that I already made in Spanish and like giving it a refreshment, making it a little more actual, up to date, and also, well, trying it in English. It's something very interesting. I'm learning a lot, and well, starting anew is always a challenge. So if you want to help, you can subscribe, you can hit like, all that kind of stuff that old school YouTubers like myself always ask, but I think now it's like a little bit nostalgic, so you can do it again as well. Sorry. And that's it. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.